Hello, myself Sunil R Nair. Here basically we are discussing one of the topic that is city creation. City creation basically we are discussing one of the topic that is India account. Here basically India account is basically just taken as a purpose basically, but in real basically you can replace India account with USA account, America account. Then America and USA both are same basically. It's not different. Europe account, United Kingdom account, here also both are same. UAE account, Arabic account, that are both are same. So one of the person told that what actually this is here basically we are not actually getting here. Sunil, basically. I will take one dangerous example basically. How the accounts are very complicated. You will say that basically are actually we never able to track that basically if you might not have told this basically. I will take one example. Assume that basically I am in India, so I am taking the example of India. Assume that in India basically big earthquake is going to happen. Not happened basically, going to happen basically after certain days. Assume basically. Just taking as an example, basically. But really this is fact basically. Here I have taken the example of India because currently I am in India. That's why basically I am taking the example of Hindustan. So one of the person told that, do you know Sunil basically when earthquake happened? Assume that basically after 2 days basically the earthquake is going to happen. Big earthquake basically in India. I am in India, so I am taking the example of India. So assume that basically big earthquake is going to happen. So what are the process basically happens? What are the process basically happens? So one of the person earthquake basically what is that basically I have already discussed. Here basically I will take few parameters. Assume that basically on the base of few parameters I have taken one example of Bangalore city basically 1,000 buildings are basically handled by Microsoft Corporation. How that is that basically I have already discussed in few videos basically. That also not few videos basically. There are more than 20 videos of this. Just now basically I told basically. The earthquake matrix basically which is handled earthquake matrix means earthquake is not supposed to happen. That matrix basically is placed near the 1,000 buildings. So that 1,000 buildings basically is what earthquake is not supposed to happen. That matrix basically are placed. That is one thing basically. Now here basically what we are discussing. After 2 days a big earthquake is going to happen. So assume that basically few states are going to get effect. So in this assume that basically few parameters are taken basically so that the earthquake is not supposed to come. In that basically the political energies are there, software energies are there, companies energy has taken, business energy has taken, God energy has taken. God means God basically. God means everybody knows religions God basically. Christian God, then Parsi God, then the Hindu God, then many Sikhs God basically are there, then Muslims God. So many God basically are there. And they basically believe in who people basically believe in God. Then they believe in God basically. The people who don't believe, they don't believe basically. That is basically not our issue. Anybody can basically believe. People basically can't believe basically. That basically depends upon the incidents basically happen to their family basically and happen to the people basically. So if the incidents basically they will display there, mere saath ye sab hua, this everything basically happened, so I basically left God basically. That basically is problem basically. So that is basically different thing basically. Education, energy. So this everything basically was controlling the entire India city. India is not city, India is country. Entire India basically. In this basically the Bangalore is also one of the city. In this Vadodara is also one of the city. In this Surat is also one of the city. In this Chennai is also one of the city. In this Bangalore is also one of the cities. In this Madras is also one of the cities. Sorry, Madras and Chennai basically are both are one. So in this basically the Hyderabad is also one of the city. In this basically the Hyderabad is one city. Hyderabad is basically, then the Telangana is there basically. Like this many states and city basically are there. Whose matrix is this? That is political, software, companies, business, God, education. On the base of this, the India country basically is not getting the earthquake. Energy means, earthquake means what? The building will shake basically. The vehicle will shake. The mountain will shake. The commercial complex will shake. Shake means like this basically. But big buildings basically in Mumbai basically will not believe. There are basically in I think in Villay Parle, not Villay Parle basically, I think in after before Churchgate or Charni Road. I think before Charni Road, then basically Mumbai Central, Mahalakshmi, or basically I think some station is there basically, where big buildings are there basically, tall buildings basically, you will not believe it basically. 100, 200, 200 floors basically buildings are basically there. 300 floors buildings are basically there in Mumbai city basically. 400 stores buildings are basically there in Mumbai city. So that will shake basically. So that is also one of the matrix basically. That matrix, that building basically standing on the base of this matrix, that is political, software, companies, business, God, education. These all are the energies basically. And what is energy basically, that we have already discussed. So here one of the person told, earthquake is going to happen. So you have to display basically in front of the world. You will not believe basically whatever earthquake basically, big earthquake basically, small earthquake basically are also displayed basically in front of the. So you can just imagine basically the big news channel basically, who knows that basically after 2 days basically the earthquake is going to happen, and this basically the political drama basically which is ongoing, that is connected with that big earthquakes. You will not believe this basically. So same way basically political basically, currently what is basically happening in politics basically, that is displayed in the form of stories basically, and that stories basically are one energies basically, and on the base of that energy basically the political instability instability has happened basically. Instability has happened. Unstable means not stable, and stable means earthquake will not happen. Unstable means earthquake will happen. So something basically happened in political energy basically, and what is that unstable energy basically which has happened basically in politics basically, that basically the political writer basically writes, and it gets displayed in front of the public basically, and public is watching basically in front of the, sitting in front of the television basically. So currently basically how many parties are there? BJP is there, Congress is there. Congress basically is behind, they basically know everything. Then basically the Aam Aadmi Party is there, Samajwadi Party is there, then the Basapi is there, then the NCP is there, then the many parties are basically there. Aam Aadmi Party is there, many parties basically there. So political instability basically they displace in front of the world, in front of the it's basically world only, because Arts the India channel basically all basically are watched by the international. They basically watch in Dubai also, they basically watch in the news channels basically are displayed in front of the America also, even basically the New York, even the American president basically might be watching India news channel basically, or Arts basically. So they basically are constantly connected with India, because software is one energy basically which gets unstable. So which has actually got unstable, because after 2 days the earthquake is going to happen. So why basically they display everything basically in front basically? Software basically unstable basically happens. Stable means what basically? Microsoft company is there, SAP is there, Oracle is there, PHP is there, Python is there, then the Foxpro is there, then the D2K is there, then the C++ is there, Java is there, then the Oracle is there, then the Microsoft is there, then the SAP is there, then the Salesforce is there. These all basically are there. Their stable data, their unstable data happened. The which basically unstable data is happened basically on the basis of that basically the stable data basically is controlling the India basically, so that the earthquake is not supposed to happen. Unstable data which is already happened, which is going to connect after 2 days when earthquake will happen basically. So why they display everything basically in front of the world basically? That is the question basically. The question basically is here is they display basically reason is so that the earthquake can be stopped. Here basically by killing the people or basically giving the problem or giving the sardi or giving the khasi or basically giving the trouble to any family basically, that is not going to stop basically. You have to solve the problem basically. What are the unstable things basically which has happened in political basically? What are the unstable basically things basically which has happened in software basically? What are the unstable things basically which has happened in companies basically? What are the unstable things basically which has happened in business basically? What are the unstable basically which has thing happened in the God industry basically? God things, God area basically. For example, Jesus Christ basically came in India, and due to that basically lots of people also died basically. Why? Christian people basically was not ready. Christian creation group basically were not ready basically. Due to that basically lots of Indian people also died basically. So sorry, lots of other religion, Muslim people, Christian people and Hindu people also basically died. Guru Nanak also basically came in India. Due to that also lots of unstable thing happened basically. Lots of God basically might have visited. Due to that basically the lots of people basically died. Here basically God basically is not responsible. Responsible group are who basically? Who basically creates the city basically? That are political people who are basically moving the red cars basically. And currently basically they use Jeep also basically. They basically use many vehicles basically. And they basically will say that basically we have given this to IITs and IIM. So that connects to education industry. And they will say that we have basically given to the software. Software group basically collects the data. They say that basically we are given to some other agencies, companies. Then they will say that basically this is the business basically. Business group basically handles this. Then basically here one more thing basically I will add. Energies, power and nuclear. This group also basically handles. So after 2 days the earthquake is which is going to come, basically you will not believe everything basically get displaced. So currently basically in politics what are the things basically happening? They basically displace everything basically, things basically which has happened unstable basically. You will not believe it basically. In software industry basically stable is what and unstable is what, that the big businessmen like eClerics is there basically currently. Oracle basically is there, Microsoft, Bill Gates is there basically, SAP owner is there, Salesforce owner is basically there. This all group basically knows this, that what are the unstable basically, which has already happened, and that unstable data is going to be taken in that earthquake, which is going to happen after 2 days. Here basically just taking as an example, basically don't say that basically after 2 days really basically earthquake happened and basically you told basically 2 days after earthquake happened basically. That if earthquake basically happened, that might be the some other case basically, we can't basically say. So here basically I'm just taking as an example of 2 days basically. It can be 1 day, it can be 2 nights, or basically it can be 1 day after also. It can be 1 week also. So one of the person told that stable data, unstable data, if earthquake basically, small earthquake also happens basically, is going to happen basically. Things are basically displayed in front of the public basically. And that are basically the news channels and newspaper basically. The people who believe in newspaper basically, they read that stories basically, and there basically discussion happens, energy generates. So one of the person told that why basically the news channel basically created. If Delhi mein something basically happened, why basically displayed in TV? If in Bangalore basically happens, why basically displayed in television basically? Because everything basically is connecting to the normal public only. So you have to display. That means stable data, unstable data. Currently basically in political party basically, which all are the parties are basically. Whatever things basically happening in the politics now basically. Good things and bad things both happens. If earthquake is happening, that means the bad things basically are getting displayed. Due to that bad things basically which has happened basically, that are the happened data basically which is going to connect to the earthquakes. And you will not believe it basically, it's very dangerous. So everything basically, here basically I had taken the example of this parameters basically. In really basically there are many parameters. In really basically there are many parameters. One person told that, yeah, Mumbai basically, why the earthquake doesn't happen? So one of the energy expert basically told that basically they have good energy, good stable metrics. Mumbai stable metrics. So they told that basically what is stable metrics? Then they told that basically they purchase the data basically, stable data purchasing basically. That we basically want stable data only basically. What is stable data? That we are going to discuss basically. So here assume that basically that stable data, on the base of that stable data, the entire Mumbai is safe and sea water of Mumbai basically is not coming inside the Mumbai city. Otherwise basically, do you think basically the big sea basically is not entering into the Mumbai basically? That is how that is possible basically. That is basically the stable data is near around the sea water basically. Due to that basically the sea is not entering into the sea means samundar basically is not entering into the Mumbai city basically. The reason, it's a stable data basically. By chance basically Mumbai earthquake is going to happen basically, that get display basically in front of the world basically. Here Mumbai will never know that basically the earthquake is going to happen basically. But the political writer basically, who is the perfect writer basically, he writes basically that due to things basically which all are the things basically which has happened in Mumbai basically in the political area basically, due to this unstable data basically the earthquake happened in Mumbai city. In software basically these all are the companies, these that basically the company basically got this project, but then basically something happened and the project basically was not able to complete, and this that basically each and every like this basically the many companies basically has done this that the unstable got generated in software basically. In business basically the person basically he was a Mumbai businessman basically, he got this that basically, then basically suddenly something happened basically, in that basically his business basically got unstable. In God basically something happened, something basically happened in God temple basically, some bad things happened basically due to that basically the all got affected and lots of things basically happened, and that due to that God unstable basically happened. Education also basically same in Mumbai. So every data basically which was stable basically, which was stable due to the Mumbai city was not having earthquakes. Not having earthquake means stable data. Due to that stable data, Mumbai was stable, not earthquake. But earthquake is going to happen. So political people basically started displaying everything basically. The software company started displaying everything. And display basically, who is the task of display? Bollywood and Hollywood. Bollywood and Hollywood group basically displays everything basically. Because they keeps on watching this. Because their task is that basically we can't do anything basically. But they take 100 crore, 200 crore basically. Big actors, big actress basically takes 100 crore, 200 crore. One person told that in Bollywood also basically lots of stables basically data are there. Unstable data are basically there, na basically. Due to that also basically few picture got flop, few picture basically was not, few people basically died, actor died, actress died, lots of things basically happened, producer basically done this type of thing, writer basically basically fighted lots of thing, and basically something basically wrong happened in Bollywood, this that which and everything basically the unstable data generated. That data also basically connected to the unstable Mumbai earthquake, Delhi earthquake. So one of the person told that when earthquake is going to come, na basically, lots of things basically get displaced in front of the world basically. And earthquake is going to come, that basically everybody knows. But who are those? The higher authorities basically. So they displace everything basically. What are the unstable thing basically? If unstable thing basically can become stable basically, try basically they do basically. They basically tries to stable the data which is basically currently unstable basically, so that basically it can be solved and immediately the data basically can be passed to energy department, nuclear power company and power company, so that basically when earthquake will happen, the disaster will not happen basically, and few earthquake basically can be stopped also. But that basically very rare happens, because after lots of time basically these unstable data are calculated, so that basically mostly never happens. But then also basically you can't say anything basically, then also you can't say anything. So software unstable data, software stable data, sports stable data, sports unstable data, because the blood which has created in front of the public, that basically has already connected to the energy basically, you can't do anything basically, which is already done basically. Sports, that's why people say that basically to take anything basically into an energy basically you have to think 100 times basically, you have to think stable data and unstable data both, then only basically you have, and this everything India is created by British RP basically. So British group basically has taken these parameters, and India is not having earthquake basically, that means they have taken perfect stable data, but certain time basically stable data converts to unstable basically, that depends upon the data. So one of the person told that whatever things basically earthquake is going to happen, that you have to display that this happens, that happens, this politics basically, these all things basically has happened, that all are basically stable and unstable basically data. And on the earthquake day, this all unstable and unstable data basically gets fire to cities, states, country, that is India. Here basically I mean India, taking as an example of India basically. So you can just imagine basically how dangerous the topic is. It seems to be very that's why basically people says that na, basically accounts basically takes main role basically here. But accounts group basically don't have the entire information basically. Otherwise basically all departments will end and basically only account department will be there. That is also possible na, basically. So that's why basically entire power is not given to the accounts department. Many departments basically are. Software departments are there na, basically. Software departments are also basically there. So you can just imagine basically. So in next video basically we are going to see little bit more about the India accounts department, which is already created by set of groups. So in next video basically we are going to see a little bit more about this topic.